Rhode Island is not an island, nor is it a road.
Leave me alone. How are you using it to feel? Leave me alone. There.
Never applaud a grouch. So, what country are you in this year? Oh, boo, thank you. Somebody out there loves me. So, are any little grouches here? Wow. Well, here we are. This is in sunny Southern California. No, it's northern. Who asked you? He's never liked me. But why did you want to come along? Well, I was trying to help kill the sales. Well, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself? They know all about me. Well, I don't know everything. For instance, how do you like to start your day? Well, I always like to start each day with a smile. That way I get it over with. Yeah, another thing I like is to, each day I vow to collect another item from my trash can. And you know why? Because I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything rotten or ragged or rusty. Oh, I love trash. Everybody. Why are you all so unhappy? Yeah, but you know, I don't like to be happy myself. I'm a true grouch. If I've been happy, that makes me miserable. But, you know, I like to be miserable. So that makes me happy. And I love to be happy. No, I don't. It makes me miserable. I hate to be happy, but I love to be miserable. So that makes me happy. But I don't like to be happy. That makes me. I think you got the point. Well, you know, Big Bird was going to be here, but I put ketchup in his alarm clock again. He never woke up. We caught the planes. He wonders where we are by now. No, that's not true, Oscar. He wouldn't fit in a car. He has to have a truck. Everything. Well, I'll tell you what. I'd like to know every kid's name. So when I count to three, hey, I tell you what. I'll count to three. How do you do that? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay. I'll count to three. Everybody tell me their name right away. Okay. 1, 2, 3. What's your name? Yeah, that's a nice name. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go away for a minute? Why don't you go away? Well, all right. I'm going to tell them a little bit more about Sesame Street. They've watched the show. Have you ever noticed the younger they are, the smaller they are? And what about these other people? They're not kids anymore. Well, that happens. Deep down, I think they all are. Oh, you poor guys. Well, why don't you wait over there, and I'll tell them a little bit more about Sesame Street and how I got there, okay? You have to?
Yeah.
Hey, wait, what do you mean a bag? Take a bath.
few questions, perhaps. Does anybody have questions about how we do it, how it started, how I got there, anything? Gentlemen,
How long did it take you to develop the voices of those two characters?
well, they each had a different problem. When I got the job, Jim had in mind for a long time building a bird and a grouchy character who was going to be purple and live in the gutter and live in garbage. I thought, wow, he described that to me after he met me and told me he was interested that perhaps I would like to work with him. And so I couldn't quite picture how we do something in the gutter. Turns out we couldn't anyway because the theater we worked in didn't have any trap doors. How could you do this? Okay. And so we decided to put him in a trash can. Well, that was more convenient because we didn't have to crawl down into the gutter. And also we decided not to make it garbage, it would be trash. And Big Bird, he built, Big Bird kind of appeared. And you have to coach a few words here because I don't want to ruin things for some of the audience. But I said, what kind of a person is Big Bird? And he said, well, gee, I don't know. Perhaps he's a grouch. I know, that's the other thing. Perhaps he's a kind of goofy guy, just like Mickey Mouse's pal Goofy. And so that was what set the thing in my mind that he would be. I wasn't thinking of a child, I was thinking of Goofy. And so when Big Bird was first heard on television, he kind of sounded like, oh, hi there, here I am. And as a matter of fact, it kind of reminds you of a purple dinosaur. And so that's when the show went on the air. That was the bird. But I had a problem. What would Oscar sound like? Because I didn't have a very deep voice, and I remember Jim Henson's. Most of his Muppets were not particularly very famous. He was 5 times a year on the Ed Sullivan Show, and when I was so elated when he hired me, I said, Jim Henson hired me, it was the Muppets. People said, who's that? And I have to describe some of the bits. There was a character that looked a lot like Kermit, but it wasn't Kermit. And he would sing a song, I've grown accustomed to his face, and he would always play a record. He can do the voice even. And this creature had a funny, cute little face drawn on a piece of cloth. But then as you looked, the cloth started to disappear as this creature was eating the cloth, and the face disappeared into his mouth. And all of a sudden there was a monster that had eaten its own cloth face. It wasn't a real face. And Kermit's singing without noticing what's going on behind it. He suddenly does a double take, and the frog, the monster eats Kermit. And he did bits like that all the time. And he had never done, things like sweet characters, sensitive things. And so Sesame Street was a departure for him. And so in the beginning, he saw Big Bird as something continuing in the kind of goofy way. Either he blew people up or they were goofy. But as we get into the show a little bit, Big Bird kind of soon became a child. But Oscar, I didn't have a voice. I had to get one right away because on the next work day, I was now going to help Oscar be a grouch. But I didn't have any voice, so I got in the cab, go across town to meet Jim, and the cab driver turned around and said, "Where to, Mac?" I said, "What a good guy." And so he kept going on about how much he hated Mayor Lindsay, and he really, truly did very colorfully. And so I decided that that would be a good voice, so I kept saying, "Where to, Mac?" in my head. So I kind of keep it, because you could easily forget a sound and a voice. And I got to Sesame Street, and Jim was waiting inside with the puppet builder who handed me Oscar. I had never seen him before. And there he was, orange, with big eyebrows. And I didn't know Oscar was orange. He told me he was going to be purple. But so I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give me Oscar. I carried him over the trash can, and I said, you knock, Jim, and see what happens. So Oscar popped up and said, "Get away from my trash can." And Jim said, "That'll do fine." And Oscar has never really changed that much. But the bird was not the boy he is now. And it wasn't too long before